State. Yeah. Hi, kids. Where are you?
Oh, my God. One of our,
If you check every
board
major
members,
city,
because I'm on
what's
the
the
board at
largest
Charles-
building in the city? It's an insurance building.
condo in Florida, and his went up.
Get out.
What did you say? Three?
What?
I mean, crazy
Are you
amount of,
kidding?
Because
Are you kidding?
what? And ours went up 16% at Charlestown Village.
At its
That
most
is a lot of
base-
money because we're paying like
At its most
400
base
bucks,
level, it's
you know,
mutual
because
aid,
it's
right?
kind of.
It's at its most basic
The roof and
level,
everything
it's
is
mutual aid.
included,
Yeah.
of course. Oh, okay, but still, it's, so that's what's on the agenda, I guess. You just need to help me explain it elegantly.
Hey, good evening, everybody. This is a Greenbelt City Council work session. My name's Emmett Jordan. I'm the mayor. Council?
Kristen Weaver, Mayor Pro Tem.
Jenny Pompey, council member.
Amy Niesel, council member.
Danielle McKinney, council member.
Zodi Pope, council member. I'm waiting for everybody's done because it's like everybody wants to talk at the same time.
Hey, anybody got any information items for later at the end of the meeting? Mr. Samaron? Okay. None for me either. So, in case you didn't know, we hold council work sessions on Mondays and Wednesdays several times a month to exchange information with community stakeholder groups or to gather information from staff, advisory boards, or residents. No formal votes or actions are taken at work sessions. Our work sessions and meetings are always open to the public, except for executive sessions as authorized by state law, so that residents and others can observe council's deliberations. We do strive to provide reasonable opportunities for the public to voice opinions on matters being considered, and we'll pause periodically for public comments, probably every 20 or 30 minutes. During these times, if you want to make a comment, ask a question, if you're here in the room, raise your hand, and after being recognized, you can go over to the podium. Please state your name and where you live in Greenbelt. If you are on Zoom, you can submit a question using the QA tab at the bottom of the screen, or you can raise your virtual hand, and we'll promote you so that you can speak. And if you're at home, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, you can email or cable TV. You can email us a question. The email address is questions@greenbeltmd.gov. So please limit your comments to 3 to 5 minutes and speak on one topic related to the question under consideration, and we ask that you avoid questioning the motives of others, and in general, please be civil in your remarks. So tonight, we've got a pretty brief work session. We'll be talking with representatives of some of the HOAs, homeowners associations, and condo associations in the center of the city. And we make it a point, we've always made it a point to try and meet with our homeowners associations, condo associations, the cooperative board, and apartment management companies on a regular basis just to keep the lines of communication open. So basically, this is a listening session. We're here to kind of find out if there are any challenges, problems, or good news coming out of the homeowners associations. So, and I like to say that Greenbelt is really a city of homeowners associations, condo associations, and I mean, there really aren't too many freestanding single-family homes in the city. There are a few, but there really aren't very many at all. So the condo associations, homeowners associations, the apartment management companies are really, really an important part of what we do here in the city of Greenbelt. So we sent out invitations to several of the HOAs and condo associations in the center of the city. So tonight, we're joined by representatives of Charleston Village condominiums,
Lois Rosado.
Boxwood Village,
Robert Goldberg Strassler.
Microphone closer to you.
Goldberg Strassler.
fantastic.
Greenbelt North.
Yeah, that's exact. Well, it's Greenbelt northwest, or northeast, or north central. No? Just saying.
Well, let's just make it.
Okay.
Oops, there you go.
You need to
Scanlon.
come up with a good acronym for that, Robert. You're very good at coming up with acronyms.
You know what I came up with last night with the dogs, the animal control? We were going to do Greenbelt Pooch.
Pooch porch. Okay. Hey, so let's just let's kick it off and get started. Robert, tell us a little bit about Boxwood Village. How many houses are there, and do you have you've got a board? Any changes? Is your board active? How do you run things there?
No, the board's not active. No, I'm not the president. I resigned a year and a half ago. But that tells you this, that the residents really are not active at all. We're having difficulty with people applying for our scholarship. People stay in their houses a lot. Okay? But very neighborly, friendly group of people. Our next event will be towards the middle of the May. We're gonna have I don't want to call it a flea market, but more as a garage sale, house to house. All right?
Right.
But generally, we don't have any other events planned during this course of the year.
You don't do a picnic or a little gathering along with
No.
the yard sale?
No,
Okay.
no. And I don't know if it speaks of the remnants of COVID. But the positions that have been pretty stagnant, that have been in it, but not very active.
Dr. Rosado, you were living there in Charleston Village.
Yes.
And you've been there for a while, and you're on the board.
I am on the board. I'm the treasurer of the board. We have 165 units. It's not huge, it's small, but it's a very, very lovely community. And we do have a very active board, very, very active board. Our president.
I'm on this board too, by the way. I'm just gonna.
Our president, Daisy Brown.
She's wonderful. She's great.
She's
a
been there,
powerhouse.
29, was it 29 years or something?
I'm thinking.
29 years.
Yeah.
And she cares. I mean, her whole life is the Charlestown Village condominium community. And no one is going to mess up that community.
Not on her watch.
Not under her watch. And the beautiful thing about Daisy is she knows every single person that lives in Charlestown Village, not just the homeowners, but also the tenants. Yeah.
And she cares greatly. And she knows anything and everything that's going on in our community. And it's a really great community. It's beautiful. It's well taken care of. And I'm really, and we're really lucky to have Daisy to take on a big part of that.
Yeah.
I guess how many homeowners associations and COAs were invited for tonight?
Well, we invited Bell Point. We invited the Boxwood Civic Association. We invited Charleston Village Condominiums. We invited the Lakeside Citizens Association, the Lakewood Homeowners Association, along with the Woodland Hills Community Association.
You know if you have a current list of representatives of those associations?
Well, that's one of the reasons why we're holding this, just to get a quick update on the boards and to find out if there have been changes and update our list. So.
I just know for Bell Point that at this time, I don't think we have a
I know
president.
Woodland Hills is not current. I know Lakeside is.
Yeah, it's,
Lakewood
foreseeable.
isn't. I'm just going from my networking from the Hug Walk.
Well, if you have those updated contacts, that may be part of the issue, because I think there's a number noted that we didn't get responses from.
Because they're inactive, for
Right.
the most part. That's what's happening.
Right. And that doesn't really surprise me. Coming out of COVID, it's been really, really hard. A lot of the HOAs and associations that would meet occasionally were meeting virtually and just haven't come back to meeting in person. Are you guys, Charleston?
We continue to meet virtually on Zoom every second Tuesday of the month. And the only time Silky's not there is if she has a city council engagement.
So something happens on a Tuesday, right?
And your management company is CBI?
CBI, yeah, CBI. We have had CVI for a long time, and we've had some challenges with them, but I think for the most part, they've risen to any critiques that we have, or areas that we're not satisfied with the response. So we can't really say we're going to fire them. We're not. We'll stay with them until they do something really horrible.
I think they risen to our expectations.
They do.
And you always have to think, they work for us. So we can guide that a little bit, what we want and how we want it done, legally, of course. But yeah, we're pretty happy with Matt.
You have an on-site, is the person from CVI your property manager? They're on-site or they're
No,
virtual?
he
They
comes
come-
once a week. He's there once a week.
Okay.
And if Daisy calls, he will make an extra trip.
Okay.
Just summons goes out.
While we were sitting here preparing for the work session, you were talking about insurance and what are some of the issues that have popped up? Robert, did you have something?
Yeah, I was going to just digress to the major area of concern is WSSC in 241 Lassner Lane.
Right.
And the problem with Boxwood is we're getting information not in a timely manner. We're like getting it 2 steps behind. And there's a true concern that you have the residents that live around the tower, the value of their houses, as well as other possible environmental impacts that we're not informed about. And not informed about, like I said, in a timely manner.
So we're very concerned about WSSC, and I personally in council was pushing to have a work session with them sooner, but there is one scheduled. What's the date for that work session? It's coming up in the next month, I believe, the 20th of May. So specifically, have you gotten notices about that?
That's what I'm
meeting?
talking about. We're not getting anything. And we're hearing from Terry. But the announcements to Terry, they should be a little quicker, that they know what their plans are, but it's as if they're getting the plans to the city when the city can't do anything about it. It's too late to respond or get feedback from anyone. It's not very useful. So basically, they're doing willy-nilly whatever they choose.
Well, I would maybe take issue with that a little bit. So on the 20th, we are going to sit down and talk with them. They had pushed back and said that they needed to be prepared to actually meet with the city and the residents. That is what they said.
Correct. And the meeting on the May 20th is a joint meeting, APB and council work session.
Okay. And they'll be specifically talking about their next steps and the actions that they are about to take in terms of refinishing the water tower, putting up a temporary cell phone.
Correct. The temporary tower, that's part of the discussion.
So could you send me an email about the plans on May 20th? That's what we're finding.
Talking about.
That's what, right?
You're not getting the information in time to have anything to say about it.
That's-
It's already a done deal, and now they want to have a meeting with you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Just to clarify, I'm actually just coming out of the APB meeting where they were discussing the construction of the tower with APB. And I think there probably are 2 separate issues, right? There's the construction of the temporary tower, which they came and spoke to council about a few months ago. And we referred it to APP to make sure that the community was aware of that. But then there's the second issue, which is WSSC. To both Mr. Roberts and the mayor's point, we need to get additional information from WSSC, which hopefully we will have in the meeting on the 20th. But I just want to make sure that people are aware there are 2 different entities that we're talking to about this same thing on Lassner Lane and the water tower.
Basically, the issue is communication and timely communication that is useful to the residents, not saying, okay, it's up. And then you tell me the day later,
Yeah.
oh, by the way, it's up. Thank you. Now, what do you want me to do about it, you know?
But I do want to make
I
sure
just-
that we commend the contractors that are working to construct the temporary
Telephone tower.
telephone tower. Thank you. They have been communicating fairly well, at least to Terry Ruby's and her team. So I know that they've gotten construction plans and information from that. I still think that we are lacking still in the information from WSSC as to what's the next step.
And we did hold a work session with that contractor. They had requested a permit, so that work session was advertised in the Greenbelt News Review and on social media. So, but I assure you that staff, the city, will provide you in a timely fashion with all the information we can possibly provide you with. That is my intention. That's council's intention. Okay. So, what are some of the issues in Charleston Village? With
I think I shared with you just before the session started. The insurance companies are not just horribly increasing their rates. I mean, our master insurance has gone from $49,000 a year to $109,000 a year. That's a 14.7% increase on every homeowner, and we clearly understand that the insurance companies have been put under a lot of pressure because of the environmental damages all over our country, especially Florida and California, and as well as the firefighters. However, I am really resentful of the fact that they're not getting the major damages in Maryland. So I'm not sure why we in Maryland have the responsibility of paying to keep the insurance companies in the black. We have a lot of seniors that live in Charlestown Village. They're not getting 14% increase of anything. So this is now taking additional funds away from them. And and not only that, it also takes money away from our staff because we can't afford increases for the staff. We would have had to have a 16.7% increase in order to give us our maintenance staff a raise, and it's not fair to the maintenance staff.
We didn't do that this year.
We couldn't afford
do
to.
that.
We couldn't afford to. We had a meeting with the homeowners prior to the implementation of this, and we got a lot of pushback. They said, look, their salaries aren't going up for those that are working, and those that are on fixed incomes, they can't afford it. Everything else is going.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to grocery stores and everything's going up, and your compensation doesn't go up that much. Yeah.
Yeah, we're facing the same challenges in Greenbrier and Windsor Green and Hunting Ridge. Our condo fees have gone up by about $100. So and there are a lot of people on fixed income, retirees and other folks who just really don't know what to do. So we at Greenbrier, we've been having conversations about having a special assessment or something to try and raise the money for that. And also our structures are aging over time. Greenbrier, Charleston Village, Hunting Ridge, and Windsor Green, they were all built in the 70s.
Ours was 1960s.
60s, yeah.
Yeah.
So those overhead costs for roofs and concrete and so many things, the fixed cost, plumbing and pipes and whatnot, it's really, so, and the same thing is even more true with just as true with GHI and some of the challenges that they're facing. So the insurance is one piece of it, but it's complicated and it's a big problem. Mr. Roberts.
You want to talk about insurance? I had a commercial auto policy for my truck, my work truck. It went from, I got the renewal in the mail. They send you, it's time for renewal. Here's your new price. Went from $113 a month to $280 a month. $280 a month. I called them up and said, how am I supposed to pay for this? I can't pay for this. I'll be broke. I'll be bankrupt. if I, and so I had to cancel the policy. I canceled it. I just got a regular, auto policy. And even that was like $50 or something more than what my commercial one was. So I think the insurance companies are just ripping off the public is what it is. Because I have never had an accident at all. I've never cost them a dime, nothing. And yet they're going to raise my rate by, almost triple. And it's like, so I feel what you're talking about. And I think everybody's going through it. And part of it is just because we live in Prince George's County, Maryland. That's what they told me. Because we have a high crime rate. There's all these thefts from autos and, everything's the cars are getting vandalized and, the parts stole off them and all this stuff. So that's the reason that they're using to jack my, rate, sky high to a point to where I can't even afford it. And I don't see how we keep going as a state like that. I mean, it's
There's also, there are increases on single-family homeowners also. And I think, that's why I think the issue is not just the condos associations. I mean, Danielle, were talking about the different levels, but single-family homeowners are getting hit really hard also.
Ms. Pope?
Yeah, Dr. Rosado sent actually a really important letter to Senator Washington, and I think that we as council may want to take a look and maybe send a letter as well to our delegates and Senator Washington, and maybe even talk to the four cities about it, because they're going to have the same issues within their communities. Because I think it needs to be looked at and discussed and see if there's something that can be done to have this capped or regulated in some way. Because I mean, this year, it was a large amount that the raise was just really large. I mean, like I said, we had to raise our account fees 14.7%. 14.7%. That is a lot. What's going to happen next year? Because it's an annual insurance. What's going to happen the year after that? I mean, how far is this going to go?
Yeah, it's a broad problem, a challenge, and I think the insurance commissioner is under the Board of Public Works, so we can ask Mr. Samaran to look into the question a bit and correspond with our delegates and senator, the governor, to see if it's something where some action would help. But this question about aging infrastructure and the age of our community, Greenbelt, I don't know if anybody got a chance to attend the GHI candidate forum that was here in this room last night, but it was streamed on YouTube, and I tuned in, and they were talking a little bit about the reinvestments that they've done every 10, 15 years. Amy, did you see that? No. So, I mean, this is... Yeah. But the question is, for homeowners associations, for cooperatives, at what point does a community become unviable? If the fees keep going up, it gets to the point where it's really hard to encourage people to buy in because the overhead cost.
Well, also when the FBI comes, there's a lot of concern as to whether or not are we going to have increases in affordability of the homes that we have now. I mean, because and how will the character of our city change as a result of the FBI building coming in? I mean, I know it's a long way off, but I think we need to really consider and start thinking about it, and what can we do to help and make sure that whatever plans are made, we have some input into them as a community.
Doing that. We're thinking about it. We're beginning to work on it. And, the housing affordability, that's not new. It's a regional kind of a challenge. So it's not just us. When you talk about what's going to happen, it's what's going to happen to College Park, what's going to happen to Beltsville and Laurel. And, some of our sister municipalities have more capacity than we do. We're sort of landlocked and fixed in the number of single-family homes that we have. Amy.
Well, I have, so first going back a little bit, Mr. Goldberg Strassler, would you be able, is there a Boxwood Village newsletter that you would be able to send out to tell everyone in your neighborhood about the May 20th meeting? And perhaps even prepare, okay, some questions beforehand that we might be able to raise with them. Any information that we can get before the meeting of things that you might want to have answered?
We have a Facebook page.
Beautiful. I just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that that was like handled. And then I've heard this, that I'm very big on community. It's one of the things that I think we are so fortunate to have in so many parts of Greenbelt. And it feels really scary that even in Greenbelt, which was founded on community, we're having trouble re-engaging post-COVID. And I know that you two are both involved in lots of other events. I guess, are you seeing this disengagement across everything? Or can you think of anything we could do to re-engage? Because one more thing and then I'll wrap up. I really worry that if we do not re-engage people quickly, we are going to lose the opportunity to make decisions as a community when it comes to things like the FBI.
Then I'll respond.
Well, the thing is COVID had nothing to do with it. And Greenbelters have been disengaged for way before COVID, for many years. I mean, Greenbelt has not been engaged for 30, 40 years, really. I mean, and think that we're all of a sudden going to re-engage, I don't know, but I mean, that's the fact. It's not, and it's not an affordable. I looked at a list of the GHI units that sold last year. At least a third of them were cash buyers, people with a lot of money that were willing to pay whatever the price to get the house that they wanted. So GHI is no longer an affordable community that I knew. When I bought into GHI, that's the only thing I could afford was a GHI frame unit. And now that's gone. I mean, my little unit that I paid $39,000 for is almost $300,000 now for a 2-bedroom frame. And to me, that's obscene, because we're not what we were planned to be. And yet some people want to continue to have this fantasy that we are that, and we're not that anymore. And I don't know, and there's no way to ever get it back. And when the FBI comes, it's going to be even worse, because then they're going to want to tear down Spring Hill Lake, double the size of that. And it's just going to be one, it's not an affordable place for any, unless you make a lot of money and, then it's affordable if you're rich or you got a job making, a couple $100,000 a year. But if you're like me making $50,000, $60,000 a year, forget it. You're going to be pushed right out, because I'm selling my GHI because I'm at the point where I can't afford to live there anymore. My GHI fee is $850 going up to $900. And my mortgage was only $650. So how does that work? You're not getting people like me moving into GHI. It's only wealthy people moving in.
Well, I guess there's never any going back, but how could we thoughtfully re-engage?
Okay, I just want to respond to where we are. I'm looking at the Labor Day event, right? You're on the committee. I know you are, Amy. If you use the Labor Day as a lead indicator and where it was, how all the nonprofits, the churches, and the other, that was a major, big deal fundraiser, and it had each of their communities engaged for Labor Day to make money, whether it's the bingo or whether it's, whatever booth you wanted to take. The city was engaged, totally engaged. And you look at how many booths are left. The high school used to have 3 or 4 booths. Now it has 0, except maybe helping out at the information desk, right? You look at the churches and the other faith institutions. They're not raising money there anymore. The civic associations would have booths, and it'd be, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. That may have been a lead indicator to where we are today.
That
I
was
don't know.
Before COVID.
Has
was
nothing to do
before
with COVID. It was headed in that direction to begin with, right? I forget which. I think we had a conversation along that line when I did, and Lois did, Flavors of Greenbelt Restaurant Week. One of the conversations that came up is we needed to do something to re-inject that energy into Greenbelt, feel that Greenbelt spirit. We needed to do something because we weren't feeling it from the Labor Day anymore. Okay?
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, I guess I wonder if one of the reasons that that's not some of those, it's not the best or easiest or most efficient way to fundraise anymore, right? So I think, there's so many more ways. If the purpose of those booths was, I mean, I understand that there is perhaps a degradation in the community engagement, but if the purpose of those booths was to raise money, there are lots of other ways to raise money these days. And so I wonder if it's just not the most efficient way to raise money, maybe, to have those booths. Now, the downside is that you don't have the community engagement, but do we need to, I'm not sure that we need to think, I think we need to be careful about thinking of things as just because things are different than they were, they are worse. Because just one example, now I know social media is kind of an interesting place in a lot of ways, but I would say a lot of the Greenbelt by Nothing groups have actually generated some pretty positive community feelings in a purely virtual sense. And that is, yeah, there can be some negativity online, but there are also pockets of things where people will post that they need something, they need help, and immediately people are reaching out. Oh, I have one of those. Oh, let me help you. So I just want to be careful about us thinking about how we think about these changes and whether they're not unallied good and they're not unallied.
Well,
bad.
maybe part of it, as if you noticed, I received a message from the Greenbelt Community Foundation. They're looking to redevelop the board, and maybe if that kind of information, if the social media, where you can spread that kind of information, because I don't use a lot of social media because I don't want to hear the crap. But
Down a little bit.
but that should be broadcast out. If you have access to it, you broadcast that out because they need it. The Greenbelt News Review is trying to find writers and trying to incorporate new stories and different kinds of stories. And I've sent that to a zillion people also. But again, if it's social media and in the need to use social media for them to get that request out, then people need to start spreading it around. But I understand the sense that we don't see it the way it used to be.
Yeah.
However, I do believe that desire of community is there. I see it in a lot of my the RUAC initiatives, how people are, I'm going, oh my God, I've got 30 bloggers. I didn't think I'd have 30 bloggers. Or how many people are coming out of the woodworks to help out at Cookies on the Bridge, or any other of the madness of RUAC, right? It's amazing. It is amazing. So there is that desire. I don't know how you bottle it.
Let's see, Danielle, and then Ms. Pope.
I appreciate you saying that, because I do think that people are excited and very proud about living in Greenbelt. I think the wonderful thing about the fact that this community has diversified over the past few decades means that there is a different way to engage different groups of people. And so what we might have used in the past as our engagement strategy may not be working for a more diverse community. And I'm talking all types of diversity, from ethnic to gender to sexual orientation to income to age. That has significantly shifted, I believe, over the past few decades. And so I think there is the willingness. We have to be able to tap into all of those different groups to say, you know, what are you doing? Let's look at those best practices to see what different groups are doing to engage in that way.
Well, speaking of engagement with the city, are you using any city facilities? What do you need from the city of Greenbelt that you are not getting, and what are you getting now?
We use the recycling. We pay for the city to do our recycling. I think we had asked for every once in a while we see a patrol car just passing, just driving through and around. We've had one, I think, or two incidents where there was attempt of a carjacking, a parked car. Nobody was in the car. And every once in a while, we have a car that seems to sit on Lakecrest Drive. It just sits there. And it's sat there for a year.
Here?
And we called, the non-emergency number. The police did come, and the police officer said, well, the tags are good. I said, yeah, but something's off if a car is just sitting every single day for a whole year, and you don't see anybody coming in and out of it.
So what happened in
person's
the end?
been-
It was just, I think it was it the black car? It was just
Black
moved.
car.
It was just recently moved.
Just
And now
recently
I know
moved.
who owns that car.
Oh, you
too.
do?
Yeah.
Good.
He lives in the high rise.
Oh, good. Okay, so.
But he
we'll-
pulled it in.
Yeah,
there.
it was just annoying. Well, he had flat tires for a while.
And that's when I called it in as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They still didn't, nobody did anything about
I think they
about it.
stickered it about 3 times, and every time.
But
it
so
came
we,
back
we
out,
just
it
we
was-
just need every once in a while a patrol car coming around, because we don't have cameras in the back. A lot of the homeowners have put in rings. Yeah, we a lot of us have rings. Yeah,
Half the homeowners have the Ring cameras?
I think so. I think so. I'll be getting mine shortly. So we do have the Ring cameras, and we do, and then we have some people that are home and watch everything that's going on outside. Reminds me of the knitter and Tale of Two Cities. But in any event,
Madame Defarge.
Madame Defarge.
Yeah.
But
Get the room for our meetings, for our annual meeting too. From
we get the room for our annual meetings.
Was it
In March.
March?
Every March, we have an annual meeting.
How was attendance at the annual meeting?
It was pretty good.
Very
It's
good,
pretty
because we
good.
do a
We
raffle.
had a lot of new people buy into, we discovered at our annual meeting, there's a whole bunch of new people that have purchased into Charlestown Village.
What, not to pry, but what do you think the average or the initial price that people are putting for, they're 2 bedrooms mostly? Or
We have
two,
we have
three?
2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms. I think the two bedrooms are going for like 229,000.
It depends if they're renovated or not. If
Yeah,
they're
that's
renovated, they're
true.
higher. They
They're
can go up to
higher.
about
And the
280,
3 bedrooms are
285.
going for a little bit more.
Yeah.
That doesn't include any utilities, water, or electricity, or
No,
anything like that?
no, no.
Not
But
in the
we,
not in the purchase price, but in your
This is a fee?
in your fee.
fee, we pay for gas and water. We pay for gas and water, so out of our assessment fees. And I think the assessment fees have been utilized very well, because we really don't have, we've been fortunate. Last winter, we didn't have a major plumbing problem with the pipes, because we do have very old pipes. And we do have, I think we had to replace 3 unit water heaters. Yeah.
How do you handle that stuff? Have you had a reserve study and?
We do a reserve study every 2 years. Every 2 years, that's very important to us, because it enables us to really plan our budget. And based on what the reserve study recommends, we either have done it already, or we have to make sure we do it. But yes, we do a reserve study every 2 years.
That's very good. So are there some major things coming up in the next year or 2 years?
Not really. I think
concrete work. We had
concrete.
some retaining walls done.
Yeah.
There might be another one that we might need to take care of, and that's quite expensive. But nothing. We had all the roofs done. We're just doing some
Patches.
right now.
Right.
We're just having the gutters all taken care of. So we do quite a bit, every year, So
Had one of the primary issues that we've had is when any of the utilities companies come, for example, the area where Mr. Gleason lives, when the utilities companies come and they have to dig, it takes them forever to come back to try and to repair the damage that they've done. And usually we end up having to repair the damage and then bill them for it.
Yeah, there was a big trench, I guess, over there where you live, where I guess they came, WSSC came
Yes.
and dug up.
No, it wasn't that
Was it
was
gas company?
had the gas.
that was
leak,
the
the gas issue.
no the one we had, but we also had
We had the water main break.
but we also had the electricity issue when they had that ice
Oh,
storm. Yeah, so they came, they dug, and we ended up having to repair that.
I think sometimes that's something the city may be able to help with a little bit if they are not making repair in a timely fashion. If an HOA or a single-family home, if they come to the city, we can make a call and inquire.
One of the things I hope that we'll be able to do in the near future is have better coordination of all the projects happening in and around Greenbelt. For example, this morning there was a huge traffic backup on Greenbelt Road. No one in Public Works was informed that SHA had planned this work on Greenbelt Road at rush hour.
On the bridge.
On the bridge, yes. Right. No, the law enforcement wasn't informed. So it not only does it create a convenience, it creates a public safety issue when you have these roads backed up and no coordinated traffic.
Yeah, I saw that this morning. This is a big problem.
So I'll be speaking with the team and exploring what ways we can have better coordination with all these agencies doing work in Greenbelt. I think part of it is a relationship issue, and part of it is a technology issue of tracking this work.
So WSSC, Pepco, Comcast, and Verizon,
We
keep
have both.
maintaining those boxes.
Yeah.
Which, although they seem to have gotten better, and the boxes seem to have
Yeah, well,
gotten
thanks
smaller.
to Silky.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to give Silky credit for that. She gave everybody, she called, but she also gave people information how to follow up.
She put her foot in it, so
Yes.
to speak.
I literally
We know she
all the way
literally.
to my hips. So yeah, I'm really, that's my pet peeve. So I'll take care of that, and anyone else who has an issue with that, please.
Yeah, we've had issues with them coming back and fixing their boxes.
It's completely different for single-family homes, so you don't have any sort of a fee, or do you collect, okay.
No homeowners fee, no fees whatsoever. Each resident takes care of it themselves. In Boxwood, it's basically been built on clay, so everyone's foundation stinks. Right? Verizon, we were a dead zone for a long time. When I would have Verizon work in my house, they'd literally walk out the front door and go up 2 houses so they can talk to their office.
Is it still a dead zone?
No, it's not as bad. Not as bad, In other words, we're not losing.
Pinpoint a time when that happened? Was it recently, or?
Yeah, it was 1:53 on Wednesday, August 19th, I think it was.
Was it this year?
No, 2021. Yeah, I wrote it down.
Oh, seriously. Yeah.
No, what we're finding in the Boxwood area is we've had just about 50% turnover. A lot of young families coming there. It's wonderful. We're looking for, instead of a bike lane, a stroller lane.
Stroller lane.
Yeah, just so that they can go by, But we really are. The issues that we've had are some of the houses have turned over because they've been flipped. The houses were in such poor condition, they hadn't, like I said, there's water in the basement, and they left the water. So you have the hazmat suits going in. So they'll sell the house for, I'll pick a round number and say $350,000, and then sell it for $550,000, right? Which jacks up everyone's prices, but it also jacks up our real estate taxes, right? But that's what's happening in Boxwood.
Just say the midpoint asking prices for a single-family home there in Boxwood.
I would say somewhere in the neighborhood of probably 425.
What was it back in 2020? Just
I would say close. I would say knock off $100,000 off of that, right?
state does the assessments every 3 years.
Get to 3 years, right? So, and assessments with the cycle,
Couple to
right?
1,000, then they reassess everybody. in
They
Boston.
that's exactly right, and so they reassess. But you as a municipality, you see those 3-year cycles also, right? And you see that in your revenues. That all of a sudden you have a 2008 hit it, right? And all of a sudden that third year when that 2008 hit it, yikes on your budget.
Right, and all of our expenses and costs go up as
Right.
well. So
For 2025 budget, that revenue is not coming in as we had hoped. We had seen a 5% year-to-year growth in our property tax revenue increases to appraisals. For 2025, the county provided data that supports a 3.1% increase. So
Also looking at during the COVID, how it affected the commercial taxes, the hospitality, the hotels, et cetera.
still having an impact.
You haven't cut back to that. Right?
commercial vacancies remain high with right. So, and we see some challenges in that, and those commercial spaces being filled again. The workforce and those spaces don't want to come back into the office.
And technology has evolved. Now they can stay at home. Now you have that option, and now they don't want to come back to work. That's in DC, same thing. They can't fill their office space.
So what else are you using from the city of Greenbelt? The curbside pickup, is that caught on really big?
You know what? I'll pick Lassner Lane, go walking up and down Lassner Lane, and I'll see 8 to 10 of the curbside compost bins there. It's a beautiful sight to see. I don't use it personally because I've got my backyard compost that I use. But I see it, and I think it's so beautiful supporting Luisa Robles in that effort. That initiative, it's wonderful.
Yeah, we're going to cut the ribbon on the composting area on Friday at noon.
But I don't think that information got out to a number of people because I was able to become part of that because the QR code that was in the Greenbelt News Review, but I sent it out. We have a website, so I've sent it out, but I don't think it was advertised sufficiently all over the city. I really don't, and especially
I would agree with you there.
You know,
but when it initially came out,
because I'm the only one.
Yeah, that pilot program. The main, and I pointed Louisa over to considering Hunting Ridge, for instance. Okay, and you have to say, as an apartment dweller, do you want to have food sitting out when you have already concerns about vermin and other infestations that you want to have it?
Management companies don't want it. They are
That's-
discouraging it. in some
right?
places. Yeah.
That they're not as supportive as a single family home.
Well, one of the things, I'm sorry. Go
Jennifer.
ahead.
I was just going to say that there is going to be a second round with composting. There's going to be another 200. She's going to expand it to another 200 homes. So hearing this from you it's good information to get now because we can, ask the city to sort of redouble their efforts at, going into broader into other communities, try different ways of communicating and outreach.
Because we'll put it on our website.
Yeah.
We can send it out. We have from the office, the management office, we can send out
Yeah,
notices.
I'm not exactly sure when phase 2 is starting, but if you email Dr. Robles, I'm sure she can tell you or give you an estimated date, or just be in contact with her, ask her to be in contact with you about it.
How's Greenbelt Station taken to that?
I know that there are several people in the community that are doing it. I'm doing it. Mayor Pro Tem is doing it, and it's been great.
Right?
It's a wonderful service, and I think the city's doing a really great job. I do think we heard some feedback when we did a walkthrough, I think, of Franklin Park, where there were members of the community that wanted to do the program, but they couldn't find a central location. So they're in buildings. So to your point, they're not going to leave it and curbside in front of their building. So is there a way, especially if there are condos or communities that might have structures, buildings, high rises, where there's a central location for curbside pickup? I think
Already have a deficiency
Right.
as far as the recycling program,
correct. Yeah.
right?
I think that is the challenge with the multifamily buildings, more so than the townhomes or the single-family homes.
Well, so speaking of challenges, we've come through COVID, and it's not just COVID. We Greenbelters, great diversity, and we've always been a mixed income community from the very beginning. So, there are people in Greenbelt that are greatly challenged. So the city is continuing with its food distributions. We were doing them occasionally before COVID, and we're continuing to do them. But are you seeing, what are you doing with, in your community? Are you seeing people with great needs? Did you have?
We have,
any
I do the
evictions
food
or-
distribution. I do the food distribution on the, most months on the third Thursday. So in my own community, we have 2 people that I think we drop, not necessarily produce, but the, canned goods
Right.
and things from St. Hugh's. Yeah, food pantry. Yeah.
What about, have you seen, you were talking about properties being flipped. So do you think there were folks that were under stress and so they sold their homes or their condos? There's fire sale. Can't speak to that.
Going on beyond closed doors, I knew that just going to say it got out of hand in those houses. But as far as the distributions go, and produce distribution and everything like that, I'm happily seeing a growth and expansiveness in the Franklin Park. I'm seeing a constant porch pickups collection, and we will be expanding porch to an apartment facility, first time, beginning of May. But that's one of the things that I was referring to. There's engaged. I'm seeing people that want to help, and they're there to the point of they've made it a ritual to help the fellow neighbor in need. Okay, I'm seeing that with the food distribution. At first, I thought that was going to go down when people were going to be asked to get a card,
Right.
but the numbers have gone up.
Right.
And the numbers have gone up in Franklin Park area and Greenbelt West in terms of it going over 75 people picking up now. But there it's been a little bit more than just the produce distribution because CARES has used it also to benefit the bilingual outreach as far as other social services that are available.
So you think CARES, Greenbelt, CARES is doing a good job and
I'll go to the
working with
I'm
seniors
going to wave
and-
that Greenbelt flag again because the services that we have in Greenbelt don't exist if you go to other cities. The social services, the educational and social programs,
Senior programs, recreation programs.
everything across the board, intergenerational. It's magnificent. That's why we're all residents, no doubt, to make Greenbelt our home. But we're also out there to help our neighbors when they're in need. You know, when they're down and out, you'll have the meal train set up to bring people meals. And with like I said, with porch, I'm seeing that there, the numbers have gone up in need there from like 250 households a month to 275. Okay? But that's not diminishing people giving to porch. It's going up a little bit to respond because they realize, oh my God, they're about to cut off SNAP. They respond. All of our neighbors respond. Nice being a Greenbelt there. They're so kind.
Yeah, and I think one of the things we did have a few of our homeowners who got caught up behind, well, fell behind in their assessments during COVID, but we sent them the information about the opera funds that through
Yeah, the
CARES.
emergency
the
relief funds have
funds-
been very responsive.
very-
The ARPA
yeah,
funds
yeah.
are there, and so ACEs to the city and being responsive to the needs of the community as much as they can.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
they've
those
been there.
ARPA funds are still there. There's still some money out there for tree canopies, for small community events, and it's been a challenge doing the outreach, working with really, really small groups because there's some things, but we've done everything we possibly could to provide the support and to actually get the money to people who need it.
It's a question, I'm posing it to you, Lois. With the insurance, you're talking about that and the assessments. Can that be addressed, through the homeowners and mortgage things, the assessments? Because I know GHI people were getting homeowners or what a GHI fees through that one particular account, right? And the mortgages. I know very few, if more than 3, were applied for, but a lot of homeowners fees were assessed. I don't know if people could apply for
With
to that.
homeowners fees, homeowner association fees, and condo association, those
Qualify for
did
ARPA.
qualify
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
for
yeah.
mortgage
We've sent that
assistance.
information out,
Okay.
especially to individuals who we felt. Well, we sent it out to everyone, but we were targeting certain individuals who really needed it.
So those numbers are stable pretty much, or they're going down, or are you at a point now where they're going up a little bit?
No, a few people took advantage of that. Some of the people that did not were already behind, even prior to.
Yeah.
That had nothing to do with,
Yeah,
with
right.
COVID.
Nothing to do with COVID.
Well, Council, do you have any other questions? I'd like to open up the floor if we have any questions. Anybody online?
There's no questions online.
Mr. Orleans, did you have a question?
What? What, Bill?
No, I don't think I do have a question. I have a thought.
Okay.
Well, almost 20 years ago, I think, University of Maryland professor, I think his name was Robert Nelson, published a book called Private Neighborhoods. His was a libertarian perspective, so he thought that it was a good thing that there were an increasing number of homeowner associations with which residents and members of could identify. He thought that intermediate level of governance, theoretically self-governance, but that was preferable than to the traditional American structure of governance where one lives in a town or a township or a city or a county, and the relationship is resident, elected official, and the bureaucrats in between. He thought it was better that these homeowner associations existed because, in fact, he was anti-government. I don't know what the cause would be for Robert suggesting that people of Boxwood Village just start staying in their houses. There might be a variety of reasons. By now, council hopefully will have received a request from CRAB, responding to a request from a resident to show in the theater a new film. I believe it's called Join or Die. It's about, Yes, thank you, Robert. I've not seen it. I don't know whether it's worthwhile or not, but I trust the perspective of the person who's asking CRAB to do this. I don't know if council has responded to CRAB's request as yet, For the record, that film is free tomorrow night in the Library of Congress. I can't go because I'm staying in Greenbelt for a meeting. And the Library of Congress has an exhibit on volunteerism, neighborhood associations and whatnot, probably worth seeing. But the point I'm reaching for is that there might be a whole variety of reasons why people are engaging in personal pursuits these days. Maybe beginning in the 50s when everybody was staying home watching TV rather than going out bowling, say. The film is based on Robert Putnam's book, Bowling Alone. Whether it proposes we bowl together or not, I don't know. Again, I haven't seen the film. But the fact is that this is a trend, maybe since shortly after World War II, where people in the United States of America are disengaging from community and engaging more so in the box that was for a long time in the living room. And now maybe they're engaging in their continual postings on what's called social media. I don't know. But the suggestion has been made to council for a long time that Greenbelt council and management and such residents as are interested in doing so should try and come up with some ideas how Greenbelt residents, wherever they live, in a homeowners association, in a cooperative, in an apartment building that's just neither co-op nor homeowners, wherever we live, we ought to come up with a way which, at least in Greenbelt, we can engage residents for a whole variety of reasons. May I ask, I do have a question. Has council received the request from CRAB? Have you responded to the request for CRAB for showing that film?
Well, I think it came through the city manager. Yeah.
Through Tim.
Yeah.
The CRAB submitted the request to Assistant City Manager. This is something that we support. I believe that more of these public events are important to build community cohesion and collaboration. Council has previously taken action to support more activities. We've made investment in the stage to continue to support outdoor events. We have I hope to approve purchases for an outdoor PA system and sound system to support more outdoor events. Internally, we've been talking about scheduling more meet and greets and sponsoring movies at the cinema. I had a conversation with Director Caitlin just a few days ago, and we'll be meeting again about coordinating employee events, open nights at the cinema. We would sponsor the movie. That would mean that access to the movie would be free, but concession sales and other things would be at the expense of participants.
Yeah, very good, very good. We frequently get request council that council's role is setting the budget, setting policy, and of course we have our fingers in a lot of things. But sometimes questions that are posed to council are questions that really are operational, and we're fortunate to have an excellent staff that is able to respond quickly.
And I would add that council has made their desires known in this by providing funding and the various different departmental budgets for special events and other activities.
Hey, Mr. Summerone, we've had this discussion tonight, and we've touched on a number of areas just about things going on in these two associations. And we've asked about city services somewhat. Is there anything we've missed, or are there some questions or things that you would want to share?
There's a sentiment throughout some of the challenges and issues presented that there's information maybe shortcoming or it doesn't make it to the right places, whether it's the QR code for the composting and other information. I recognize that is a challenge. While we have a very extensive email list of around 18,000, we know that we're still missing some folks. We've been trying to build our social media following because we see opportunities there. We're reviewing some of these strategies, the strategies that we're executing to get to our folks. There isn't one solution that's going to serve everyone. So we're looking to do a little bit more on all of them, whether that's on emails or newsletter or the City Connector is going to have more interactive elements like QR codes, links, so folks can get more information. We're going to do more cross promotion of events through our newsletters in reminding folks of upcoming events. If you're on our Facebook page, a lot of the event announcements get buried because we are posting things regularly, by regularly, multiple times a day. And so things get buried in there because we're competing with the thousands or millions of other people that are posting every day. Part of the FY25 budget includes constituent services personnel. One of an element of that job description is connecting with HOAs and civic organizations so that, and this will be at the discretion of the homeowners association, civic organizations to invite our constituent service personnel to those meetings, and that person can track issues that are relevant or that are a concern for each HOA and create a process to address those issues.
When you use QR codes, please also put the information in, because everyone does not know how to use a QR code. I'm sorry. And I saw the QR code. I didn't have any problem with it, but that's because it had taken me a while to learn how to use QR codes, and I'm stubborn that way. But other people, they just need to get the information, and the technology scares them. So they're interested, but if you use the QR code, also put the information in.
Absolutely.
Guess I got to get a phone then. Right?
Yes,
yeah.
he doesn't even have a phone.
No, but I want to commend two aspects of what you just presented. One is Chandra Andrews and James Wesniewski. They're doing an outstanding job of e-blasting events and whatever's going on. It's spectacular, and I use it for some of the programs of RUAC. And I also want to commend the notion of creating a constituent services position for triaging what's important and what's to make a distinction, what's important, prioritizing what needs to be addressed and who should address it.
Yeah,
I think it's a wonderful, wonderful
Before things get out
idea.
of hand.
Yes, I
think
really do.
That's an excellent suggestion.
Thank you.
Right?
Of course, when it comes to attending events and coming out to picnics and barbecues, most of council is available.
No, it's just for campaign purposes.
Oh, man.
There's no heart involved
That
at all.
is not true. That is not true.
No, but
Well,
but
Greenbelt, we talked about at our HOA meeting, and Silky was there, that we're really thinking of joining, of having an event for the night out.
Oh, National
Doing
Night Out.
national
Yes,
night out,
yes.
But doing
we were-
something in Charlestown Village, because we don't get a lot of people to go out to those events.
Yeah.
But if we did something in-house, we could pull people out of their apartments and things
I think it'd be
like that.
nice for us to.
I
to
think that's a
participate.
great idea. Congratulations. The constituent services is
Yeah.
really badly needed in our city.
Okay, we just have one small hurdle to get through, and that's council approving the budget.
Yeah, well, we're
Oh, they're gonna approve it, right?
they're busy going to events. They don't even.
We just
Hey,
wanna
well,
go to-
the other thing that we've talked about is the city website itself, and it's really time for an overhaul, and I'm
It is,
hoping that
it
it's
is. It's not
happens
an
this
easy
year.
website
Not at
to
all,
use,
no.
and to find information. I was looking for some information on the Reparations Commission, and I couldn't find it, and I'm on the Reparations Commission, so, I mean, I said, but
It's in the left column,
Yeah,
about
it's-
2/3 the way down.
So I'm glad to hear that. I'm really, really glad to hear that, because, I mean, that goes along with the constituent services, because if you can overhaul the website so it can be useful, or at least have an individual that people know, I can go to this person, I can go to this area to really voice my need or concern, I think that'll be fantastic.
Or to post something about a community event.
Or to post something
Yeah.
about a community event.
Hey, any other question before we wrap up? Go ahead, Ms. Pope.
It's also important to, there's always some, there's an issue in Greenbelt East, Greenbelt West, in different neighborhoods. And I think it's important that we share pertinent information with certain neighborhoods when they come up, like the street resurfacing for Lake Crest Drive, for instance. We didn't know that, but I think for us, it would be really good to know, because we can already give people the heads up, and, we can expect more parking issues, and or maybe just little things like that. But I think it'd be very valuable. Of course, in Greenbelt East, they're very eager. Cameras, this has been going on for a long time. We talked about, but everybody's asking, well, what's going on? So, we have to reach out to certain groups if it's pertinent to that area and something's happening in the next, soon. Yeah, I think that's important as well.
So I want to thank the two of you for your engagement. Is there any? Yeah. Well, yeah, it was a tough decision to invite the two of you here.
Well, we respond.
I heard Lois won the arm wrestle.
Oh my.
We
Yeah.
respond.
So thank you so much
You're
for all you
welcome.
do.
Thank you for
Yeah.
doing this. We appreciate it. But I really think there are a lot of, I remember we had an HOA meeting at the community center. And there were a lot more groups
Yeah,
and
there
individuals
were.
that came out. So
There were a good
I'm not
15
sure
there.
what's happening, but hopefully other people will show up. Because you got three groups in Greenbrier, right?
Yeah.
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 I'm surprised.
Is there that Greenbelt East Advice?
It's not active right now,
Not active anymore.
but still the various homeowners association and condo boards are. Yeah.
I think the issue is getting volunteers, because I know when you were talking about Labor Day and the booths, that's how I started. I had to start helping in the sausage booth, but the Knights of Columbus still have their sausage booth. But everybody was so eager to help. I mean, every group, you have Mishka Torah, you have, everybody.
Your hour shift or whatever, but
Yeah.
what was Bill referring to, the film was on volunteerism,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
And-
Melissa Ehrenreich
Yeah.
recommended it.
But I think now it was just hard. It came to a point where you couldn't find any volunteers, No, so and that can also be economic reasons, because you have a lot of families, younger families moving in. They have 2 jobs. They have so it's things have just changed.
But that was a problem with, I'll say, the fraternal organizations. As far as the Elks, the Shriners, all of them, they were social organizations back in the 30s or 40s or whatever. And they had, I know, to the point where I worked for one, and the average age was actuarially dead, right? That they had to look, how are we going to get the new blood in? And they said, we've got to go into professional networking. That next group of people. So it's reimagining yourself.
Well,
Thank you for hearing
no,
us.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
And let's go ahead. So tomorrow we have a 4 cities meeting. It's here in Greenbelt in this room. It's at 7 o'clock. And the speakers, we've got Chad Williams from the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission. He's going to be talking about some of the proposed changes in the zoning rewrite that have been actively considered by the county council recently. And also, who's the other speaker?
Tax differential
Tax differential.
legislation. So it is Stanley Early, Director of Management and Budget for Prince George's County Tax Differential Task Force.
Yeah, I think there was a proposal to modify the task force. There's been a task force that would meet each year to discuss the upcoming tax differential formulas. I believe Rick Gordon actually served on that last year. But there's a proposal where they want to add some members from unincorporated areas and change the structure. So that should be an exciting conversation that we have. Okay, any other
Yeah.
news for the good?
Just one, because Melissa, who was on here?
It was
Susan Walker, because she was on here, said, well, it's the meeting was advertised for 7 p.m. tonight, and actually we started at 7:30. So there
It's
must have
correct
been,
on the calendar. It's listed wrong on the agenda, I think.
Oh,
it's listed wrong on
And
here.
listed on the agenda
And
page, but
so-
it is correct on the city calendar.
Right, so I looked at the city calendar, so.
So I think it just, and that may be because our meetings is the plan to do the 4 cities is 7,
Yeah.
but also are we doing the,
the recognition
the
groups.
recognition groups are 7. So I think that may have just carried backwards a little bit too much, so.
Those are
Yeah.
exceptions. So that's next week on Tuesday and Monday and Tuesday, the recognition groups, 7 o'clock until, and hopefully we'll be able to wrap up by about 10 o'clock each night, depending on how it goes.
But that was the reason
was
why
the
we,
impetus, yeah.
that was,
Hopefully earlier than that.
Hopefully earlier than that.
Yes, that's why we have 2 meetings.
Hopefully, I'm like, wait a minute, we're not doing two.
Just as far as the calendar
we're just
goes,
saying.
on the 8th, our budget work session is also listed for 7 p.m. It looks like they end on the 15th. The budget work session is listed for 7 p.m. on the calendar.
I think Greenridge
exactly
House
when we
is
do that.
sometimes
The Greenwich House is supposed to
sometimes
be at
is
7
sometimes
o'clock.
earlier.
And we have an executive
I just
session
want to make
after
sure
that.
that because
Yeah.
that it's all correct for folks.
Okay.
I'll get with Benita to review the times to make sure we have them correct in both places, the website and.
Thank you, everybody, and see you tomorrow.
I just
Oh,
have a
Amy,
quick
go ahead,
question.
please.
Do I have to get permission to Zoom into a council meeting? How,
No, you should be getting a link, and then you
Okay.
click on the link.
because I would like to Zoom in on the May 13th.
Technically, she does, according to
I think
standing rules.
technically it's informing. I think it's, yeah, just let us know is the idea if you're going. I don't think we've ever denied anybody permission. It's not.
Write a letter, 2 or 3 pages, and just documentation, photographs.
Regular council meeting.
Okay, I may not be able to attend because I have a.
Oh, I know all the notaries now.
I know every notary in this
appointment
city.
For my
Hey, good night,
birthday,
everybody. Good night.
And I don't know how I'm gonna